Hey, yo, hey, it's Mrs. Yao. How's everybody doing? So it's been a while since you guys have actually seen me in a video because I was using some great videos that some other teachers had already made. But starting today, we're going to continue with author's purpose, but we are going to start looking at some passages and we're going to find clues in the passage to help us to know what the author's purpose is. So let's do a quick review and look at our anchor charts that we have at the beginning of every lesson. So remember, author's purpose is easy as pie, and there are one way that we can remember what the author's purpose is. And that way has three different parts to it. So we have pie, which is P for persuade, I for inform, and E for entertain. So let's look at each of those different parts. So persuade means that you are trying to make someone do or think or believe something. So some examples of things that you might see this in would be a speech, an advertisement like a commercial or the Target sale ad that you get on Sunday, a letter or an article. So these are not the only places that you may see that kind of persuasive writing. However, those are some great examples. The I in PIE stands for inform, which means someone is trying to teach you some new information. So the author wants you to learn something. Popular places that you will see this type of author's purpose would be a nonfiction book, where they're telling you some real information, a textbook, a news article. And just to give you guys a little hint, last week when we did one of our activities, a couple of the questions talked about telling a true story about something. If it's a true story, then that's nonfiction. Remember that. So if it's nonfiction, most likely the purpose is going to be inform, even though it's a story, because a lot of you saw that word story and it tricked you and it made you think it was to entertain. But since the information was true, that means it's giving you facts. So if it's giving you facts, then they're trying to inform you. So again, those different examples are a nonfiction book, a textbook, or a news article. All right, and then the E in PIE stands for entertain. So the author's trying to amuse you. That means they're giving you, they want you to feel some type of emotion. So some examples would be a fiction book, a poetry book, or a joke book. So as far as those emotions, like if you're reading a mystery, the author might want you to feel scared. That's an emotion. If you're reading a joke book, the author wants you to laugh and have fun and make it funny. So that's your emotions that you're feeling. So just remember, with entertain, you're going to usually feel some type of emotion that you are connected to with the story. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at two passages today. And whoops, sorry, email's popping up. So we're going to look at two passages today. I'm going to read them to you, and we're going to look for some clues in those passages that would help us to know what the author's purpose is. So I'm actually going to zoom in, and that means I'm going to need to move myself to another corner. There we go. All right, so let's listen to our passage first. Perfect play date. Reggie invited Troy over to his house to play after school. As soon as they'd put their backpacks away, they played video games. After an hour, Reggie's mom said that the boys needed to get off and play outside. Reggie and Troy got their bikes and rode around Troy's neighborhood. When their stomachs started growling, they headed back to Reggie's for a snack. Troy's mom came to pick him up just as the boys finished eating. Troy asked his mom if Reggie could come play at their house tomorrow. His mom said that he could. The boys shouted, "Yes!" All right, so when you first listen to that, what do you think the author's purpose is? Do you think the author's trying to persuade us? to inform us, or to entertain us. So remember, if they're trying to persuade us, they're trying to get us to do something or to believe something. If they're trying to inform us, they're trying to teach us something. And if they're trying to entertain us, they're trying to help us to stay amused and hold our attention and feel some type of emotion. So my first thought would be that this is probably a passage where the author is trying to entertain us. I don't remember the author trying to get me to do something or believe something. They didn't tell me facts or teach me any kind of new information, but they did tell me a story, and it held my attention, and I had some kind of emotion. I was excited for the boys because they get to play together tomorrow. So let's look at some clues in the story that would help us to know that the author's purpose is to entertain. So first, Reggie and Troy get to have a play date. That is something that's going to hold my attention, right? So bear with me on the typing. Reggie and Troy get to have a play date. Whoops, can't spell. All right, that's one clue. What do they do while they're having that play date? Well, they play some video games, they ride bikes, they eat a snack. So that's a clue. That's some fun things they get to do. So they play games. Whoops, I guess I should say they play video games. They play video games, they ride bikes, and they eat a snack. Is that something that you usually do when you have a play date? Sounds like stuff I used to do when I had play dates. All right, and then another clue is that they get to have another play date tomorrow, right? So they're very excited. So they get to have another play date. This gal just cannot spell. All right. And there, I messed up again. There we go. All right, so I think the author's purpose is to entertain me. So I'm going to type the author's purpose is to entertain me because, so I want to make sure that I tell why. I have my clues listed here, my 3 clues, but I want to make sure that I tell why it is the author's purpose. All right, because the story held my attention and amused me, and I was excited for the boys to have another play date. All right, pretty simple, right? All right, so let's look at one more passage. All right, so this next one is called Magnificent Monarchs. Magnificent Monarchs. Monarch butterflies are orange, black, and white. Adult monarchs have a wingspan of about 5 inches. Monarch butterflies are poisonous. The poison comes from a plant they eat as a caterpillar called milkweed. If a predator eats a monarch, it probably won't kill them, but it will make them sick. This keeps these predators away from monarchs in the future. When it begins to get cold, monarch butterflies fly to warmer locations. Monarchs are able to fly 50 to 100 miles per day. Some monarchs can travel up to 3,000 miles total. All right, look at someone, partner, dog, whoever's near you, and tell them, do you think the author's purpose of this story was to persuade you, to inform you, or to entertain you? All right, so I think the author's purpose of this story was to persuade me, right? They were trying to get me to do something? No. The author did not try to get me to do anything or believe anything in this story, so I know that's not right. All right. I think it was to entertain. So the author was telling me a story and it held my attention and I felt all kinds of emotions. No, it wasn't to entertain. How about inform? I learned some things. I had no idea that monarch butterflies were poisonous until I read the story. So I learned that today. So the author was trying to inform me by teaching me some information. All right, so let's go through and type some of our clues. So our first clue, whoops, can't get it to do what I want. There we go. Our first clue is that if you go back to the beginning of the story, it told you what monarch butterflies are. So I'm just going to type monarchs. I'm not going to type out butterflies. The monarchs are orange, black, and white, and the adults have a 5-inch wingspan. Okay, that's a clue because that's information that the author gave me. Okay, so if I look at the second paragraph, so if that right there came from my very first paragraph, so that's the first paragraph clue. So for my second clue, I want to look at the second paragraph. I guess I should have told you that when I did my first passage, but now you know. All right, so looking at my second paragraph, it's telling me that monarchs are poisonous. So that's definitely something I learned. I want to include that. So monarch, I guess I should type butterflies. Monarch butterflies are poisonous. Make sure I spelled that right. Okay, so I didn't know that before. Why are they poisonous? They're poisonous because they eat a plant called milkweed. So monarch butterflies are poisonous because they eat milkweed. Okay. All right, so that's a fact. All right, now if I go to my third paragraph, I can get a third clue. So remember it talked about how they fly to warmer locations when it gets cold, and it tells us like how far they could possibly fly. So I'm going to say monarch. I'll just do monarchs again. Monarchs fly. They don't flew. They fly to warmer places when it gets cold. Okay? So those three clues are all facts. So because they're all facts, I know the author was trying to inform me or to teach me about something. So I'm going to say the author's purpose is to inform, can't spell, inform me because it taught me facts about monarch butterflies. Okay. All right. What did you guys think? Pretty simple, right? So we've been working on just reading some short, little, tiny excerpts, I should say, about what books are about. But when we look at an actual passage to find the author's purpose, the best thing to do is, first of all, read it first, and then look for different clues that tell you what the author's purpose is about. So today, you're going to have a passage. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to be reading the story Crazy for Chocolate, and you are going to have to decide what the clues are. Now, in this one, it's all one paragraph. There are not 3 paragraphs like my last story that I did about monarch butterflies are. But since this passage or since this paragraph is so long, I believe you could easily find 3 different clues about the author's purpose in Crazy for Chocolate. Remember, when you get down to author's purpose, after you've typed in or written in your clues, if you're in class, after you pass the clues and you're ready to write what the author's purpose is, don't just write persuade, inform, entertain. Make sure you turn it into a sentence. The author's purpose is blank because yada, yada, yada. And that's where that yada, 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 you're going to tell why that's the author's purpose. Okay? All right. I will see you guys back again soon this week with some more author's purpose. And I will see you when I see you. Have a great day, friends.